All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er Buffalo Bill review. And man, that was a tough game to review, but we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out. So go say hi to Damon and Mary, get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. While the Niners lose to the Buffalo Bills in week 13, 35-10. Putting the Niners' playoff hopes on life support. Niners fall to 5-7, 2-4 on the road. Bills clinch their division. They're going to the playoffs. They're 10-2, and they're undefeated at home, 6-0. And this was a game that, first of all, you got to have the proper, expectations coming into the game. I didn't expect the 49ers to win this game. You don't have Trent Williams. You don't have Brandon Ayuk. You don't have Nick Bosa. You don't have Demo Lenore. And Christian McCaffrey has got double Achilles injury. And then you lost McCaffrey in the second quarter on a game where he was playing very well, averaging 7.6 a carry. He had a 19-yard run. Christian looked good, right? He had a 12-yard reception. He had a 19-yard run. He had, close to, what do you have, 67 yards and 9 touches. So he was playing well, and then he went out. And he's got a PCL strain, and who knows to what degree it will impact him if his season's over or exactly what that's going to mean for him. But he had to leave the game, and he didn't come back. And the Niners ran the ball effectively in this game. 27 carries for 153 yards, 5.7 a carry. J.P. Mason, 13 carries for 78 yards. He came into the game averaging 5 yards a carry. In this game, he averaged 6 yards a carry. Isaac Guerrero had 4 carries for 19 yards. He had a 15-yard run, averaged 4.8 a carry, and got in the end zone. So I wanted to see Guerrero. We saw Guerrero. We got to see the 49ers utilize all 3 running backs, and they ran it effectively. The Niners started Jalen Moore at left tackle and Ben Barch at left guard for Aaron Banks, and they didn't miss a beat. They actually ran the ball better with Barch and Moore on the left side of their line than they did a week ago with Banks and Trent Williams. So that was hard to believe. Jawan Jennings stepped up and made 3 really nice catches. Debo had 4 catches for 20 yards and had some huge returns. I thought Debo was fantastic on kick returns. He had 6 returns for 208 yards. He averaged 34.7 yards per return. He had a 60-yard return. Jacob Cowing looked good returning punts. He had a 13-yard return and averaged 12.5 yards a carry. But the Niners tried to kick 3 field goals. Jake Moody missed 2. So, it was a rough day for kickers. The Niners couldn't stop the run. The Niners, they stopped the run well at the beginning of the game. But then there was that, if you go back and look at this game and how it kind of evolved, and just look at the way it would evolve. So Jake Moody kicks a 33-yard field goal. Niners are on the board. It's 3-0. Then the Bills come back, 13-play drive. Ray Davis, 5-yard score. It's 7-3. In that third drive, which was an 8-minute, let's see, I'm not sure if it was an 8-minute drive. Let me see exactly how long that drive was. But on the third drive where, I guess the fourth drive, because the third drive was a 1-play drive. James Cook, 65-yard run down the sidelines and 14-3. But on the next drive, after the 1-play touchdown run, on the next drive, you saw the Bills scored on the Mac Hollins 7-yard pass from Josh Allen to Mac Hollins, and that made it at that point 21-3. But on that third possession, or I guess that was the fourth possession. On Buffalo's fourth possession, they came out running the ball. And James Cook ran for 16 yards on 1st and 10. James Cook had an 11-yard run on 1st and 10. Cook ran again on 1st and goal from the 9. That's when the poor tackling really started to show itself. Allen threw a pass to Dawson Knox. He carried Jair Brown 5 or 6 yards down the field. On the next play, James Cook runs for 16 yards on 1st and 10. On the next play, Cook runs for 11 yards on 1st and 10. That's when I thought things started to get out of hand, right there. So when the Niners when they stopped resisting the run, when they stopped defending the run, when they no longer could have any way of stopping the run, because that was a 9-play drive, and you look up, it's 21-3. Niners get the ball back with 41 seconds left in the first half. They tried to move it. Mason had an 11-yard run, and then they tried a Jake Moody 55-yard field goal. But they wind up missing the 55-yard field goal. So it's 21-3 at halftime. And then Niners get the ball in the third quarter. Debo's got this great return, 62-yard return, 60-yard return, whatever it was. And they get down to first and goal on the 4-yard line, and Kyle Juszczyk fumbles. And Buffalo recovers. Rapp with the forced fumble. Benford with the fumble recovery. It was Juszczyk's first fumble since 2018. And that was, you fumble inside the 10. You fumbled inside the 5. So, I mean, that's it right there. You can't fumble inside the 5. And that was the first turnover. Purdy eventually had a fumble. Debo had a fumble. I mean, the Niners were -3 in turnovers. But, I mean, if you look at this game, there was really a couple things. -3 in turnovers. Absolutely. You can't win games on the road in the NFL against Hall of Fame future Hall of Fame quarterbacks by being -3 in turnovers. The Niners have stopped taking the ball away on defense altogether. Defensively, Sorensen's got to go. They don't stop the run. They don't take the ball away. They don't put heat on the quarterback. They didn't sack Josh Allen. They didn't hit Josh Allen. Josh Allen completed a high percentage of his passes. They didn't stop the run. They didn't tackle purely against the run. So, I mean, in the red zone, they've been bad all year. They've been really bad all year. If you look at the Niners' numbers, their numbers aren't that bad if you look at their yards that they've given up. But when you look at the points, suddenly you realize how bad the 49ers have been in the red zone. And in this game, 38 carries for 220 yards is what Buffalo ran for. 5.8 a carry. James Cook himself ran for 7.6 a carry. 7.6 a carry? That's not the Niners. That's not the run D that they had a couple years ago with Aziz and Greenlaw and Warner and Jimmy Ward and Jaquaski Tart, Emmanuel Mosley, and Samson Ebukam, Hassan Ridgeway. I mean, they've dropped so many good run defenders the last few years, and they haven't replaced them. So they couldn't stop the run in this game. They couldn't put any pressure on the quarterback, and they were -3 in turnovers. There you go. They still had they missed a couple kicks on special teams. They had 3 fumbles and lost them all. Juszczyk, Debo, and Purdy all fumbled. Purdy doesn't handle the football well in wet conditions, and the Niners are going to have a big decision on their hands of exactly what they want to do with him extension-wise. Jair Brown took a terrible angle on one of the big gainers. Devondre Campbell once again struggled. The Niner linebackers struggled. The 49ers did very little. I mean, the Niners had 3 tackles for loss, no sacks, and 1 hit on the quarterback. So, I mean, it's going to take more than that. It's going to take more than that. So, they're not really good enough in any phase. They couldn't stop the run, and they really are a shoddy tackling team, and they put very little pressure on Josh Allen. But then offensively, they didn't do anything. I mean, 10 points offensively. They didn't do anything last week. Offensively, they've been very, very disappointing. They don't have a lot of speed on the offense. You look at this team. I mean, I'm glad that Guerendo played today because Guerendo's got some speed. And it looked better with him out there. But they don't have speed at wide receiver. Ricky Pearsall, God bless him, hasn't done anything. I'd love for Ricky Pearsall to be a star. Right now, he's a bust. So he did nothing. And if you look at Ricky Pearsall's game log, he's not doing anything pretty consistently. He was targeted once today, caught no balls. Didn't get any targets against Green Bay. Needless to say, he didn't catch any balls. Was targeted twice against Seattle. Didn't catch any balls. He's had 3 games in a row where he's played and even played significant snaps and got nothing done. Nothing. So, the Niners are very, very cocky about Ricky's going to be a great player. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to be a great player. I want him to be a great player. I don't know if he's going to be a great player. So, I mean, the positives were that Purdy took care of the football as far as he didn't throw picks. The positives were that the Niners found their run game. They ran for 5-7 a carry. The offensive line seemed to open bigger run lanes and did a decent job protecting Brock Purdy. I thought, Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa made a number of plays, but -3 in turnovers, can't stop the run, no heat on the quarterback. Don't look very explosive offensively. And it just, you look at those numbers and you look at this game and you watch this game and you're like, wow, this was disappointing. The Niners were 3 for 10 on third downs, so they converted only 30% of their third downs. The Bills converted 50%. They were 6 of 12. Niners only had 239 total yards. The Niners ran the ball effectively, 5-7 a carry, but they couldn't stop the run. Didn't take the ball away. And this has been their trend. This is what's happened the last month or so. They're not stopping the run. They're no longer taking it away. If you don't take it away and you don't stop the run, the one thing you absolutely cannot do is turn it over. And the Niners are -6 in turnovers the last 2 weeks. Last week, they get beat 38-10. This week, they get beat 35-10. And neither is going to be a surprise. If the 49ers can dominate time of possession, run the ball effectively, and be +2 on the turnover table, they got a chance to beat any of these teams, even good teams, even playoff teams like Buffalo. But if you can't stop the run and you're -3 in turnovers and you're still making big mistakes on special teams, I mean, it's a wrap. So they got major decisions to make, major decisions. Do you extend Brock Purdy now? Do you make him wait? What do you offer him? Do you offer him what Tua got paid, $53 million? Colin Cowherd did a video the other day. He said the last 21 quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl, of the last 21, 18 are either Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. So I think you can ask the question, is Brock Purdy good enough at quarterback, or do the Niners need to go into this offseason and continue to look for their quarterback of the future? Is Kyle Shanahan good enough as the head coach, or do the 49ers need to look for another head coach? The offensive line needs to be upgraded. The defensive line needs to be upgraded. They need to find a free safety somewhere. They absolutely need to add 2 or 3 linebackers who can run. Look at the difference, by the way, in Seattle. When the Seattle at the beginning of the year had Jerome Baker and Terrell Dodson, and now they have Ernest Jones the fourth at linebacker, and they just brought in Tyrese Knight, who they drafted out of UTEP in the 4th round. And Tyrese Knight and Ernest Jones the fourth are playing much, much better against the run, and Seattle's a much better defense because of it. They traded out their 2 inside backers in the middle of the year for 2 new inside backers, and the 2 new guys are playing quite a bit better. So trading out your run defenders for guys who aren't making plays and then replacing them with guys who are can have a huge impact. And it goes the other way. The Niners had Dre Greenlaw and Azeez Al-Shaair. Now they have Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles and Devondre Campbell. They had guys who were all world, and now they've got guys who are replacement level. And they used to be able to stop the run with ease. Now they can't get off the field. They can't stop the run to save their life. And everybody looks like they don't want to break down in space, and they don't want to hit anybody. So where are the 49ers dramatically different from a year ago? Last year, their offensive weapons were awesome. This year, their offensive weapons are slow. Last year and 2 years ago, their linebackers were awesome, as good as anybody in the game. Now they're not good. In the case of Warner, he's great, but hurt. And Campbell and Flanagan-Fowles are just not very good. So they've gone from the best linebacking core in the game to one of the worst, and some of the best weapons in the game to some of the slowest. And when those two things in a vacuum are primary reasons why the Niners have backslid, and they're going to continue to backslide until they replace their bad linebackers and their bad skill position guys and they're slow skill position guys with faster skill position guys and better linebackers. I think it's as simple as that. I think it's more about personnel. I know there'll be people that will blame Shanahan and Lynch and others, but and they do deserve some of the blame for the personnel taking a backslide for sure. But this isn't about scheme. This isn't like, oh, the Niners scheme doesn't work. Oh, Shanahan's been caught up. They've caught on to Shanahan. No, this is not about the X's and O's. This is about the Jimmies and the Joes. This is about the lack of personnel. And they didn't get here overnight, and they're not going to get back on top overnight. They've got to improve a number of areas, but specifically the skill position guys, the guys who handle the football, the running back, the tight end, the wide receivers, the quarterback, the kick, the guys who handle the football have got to be better. They were so much better than they are this year or last year than this year. And then linebacker wise, they got to find some studs who can run. They got to find some guys who hit. They've got to find their next Dre Greenlaw, the next Fred Warner, the next Azeez Al-Shaair, because Flanagan Fowles and Devondre Campbell are a far, far cry from what the Niners used to have. Start there. There's more to do besides that, but start there. Linebacker and skill positions. That's where they have to. And obviously on the offensive and defensive lines, but they were great at linebacker. They were great at the skill positions. And now they're not only not great, they're in the bottom third of the league. And that's why they're at where they're at. All right. Love to hear your comments. Leave them below. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Mancini's for sponsoring this video. Once again, we go into Mancini's, whether it's online at sleepworld.com or in any stores, Mancini stores, use Krug10, Krug 10, and you'll get 10% off in any of their stores or online at sleepworld.com. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.